Hey everybody, this is Jack Hamber, and welcome to another edition of 49ers Film Breakdown. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Javon Kinlaw. This is one of the players that some folks have been wanting us to take a look at for a little while. So today we're going to go through his game against the New Orleans Saints. I chose this game because it's later on in the year. Kinlaw unfortunately didn't have a lot of time with the team prior to the start of the season. No training, up until training camp, there was no OTAs, any of those types of things. So this is it was a little bit of a rough go for him early on. So I feel like, to give him a just look, it's probably best to start towards the middle of the season. This actually ends up being one of his better games of the year anyway. So I'm going to look at a couple of different games. Today we're going to look at this one. I'll be back later on in the week with another game from the middle of the season as well, just to kind of, I think what this does is it gives us a good baseline of where he's going to be, where he is going into the off season. From all reports, he's already been showing some improvement throughout early OTAs, and they're really excited to have him on the team and what he's going to be able to bring this year. So let's go ahead and take a look through this game. It's going to be kind of a small screen. I apologize for that. I want to be able to scroll through the different plays, but I think you'll still be able to get a pretty good visual on it. So let's go ahead and roll through this, and then we'll see what time it is when we're done. And if there's there's about 30 plays total that he takes part in. I think he has 35 snaps in this game, and a couple of those are at times where they're just kneeling down. So I'm not going to show those. So we should be able to get through this relatively quickly. And if we have time at the end, I might even drop the link in, and we can take some calls. If not, definitely be looking over at the comments and answering all your questions if possible. So let's go ahead and go through this. Starting off, this is actually the first offensive play of the game for the Saints. You have Kinlaw right here at the bottom of the screen. This is him here. This is going to actually be a run. It's going to be coming right at him, and we're going to see some really, really good blocking out of the Saints right here, and they're going to give him a rough go to open this game. They double him. Start off with a double, drive him down, and they just really drive him out of the hole and run right over him for a nice gain of about 5 yards. One of the things that I find interesting as I look through this, I've done some breakdowns on other defensive players as well, some of the rookies that are coming up. And one of the things I've talked about quite a bit was Talanoa Hufanga, the rookie out of USC, and his ability, where I think he's more of a box player, and for him to be playing more of a linebacker role. So in this game in particular, the 49ers did that quite a bit. This is actually Marcel Harris, their third safety on the field at this point in time, and he's over here as their third linebacker. So you've got Warner and Greenlaw here, and then Marcel Harris has actually been acting as their third linebacker, and he does this for quite a bit of the game. So I know we're mostly focusing on Kinlaw, but I just wanted to bring that up and kind of point that out because you see that throughout the game where they used him in that role. And this is a position that when you watch Hufanga on his film, he really excels at that kind of a spot on the field, and so that could be his role with the team going forward. But a really good drive out of Kinlaw on that first play. 2nd and 5 now. You're going to get a pass here. He's now up at the top right here, and this is what you see out of him quite a bit on his pass rush. He really has a hard time with getting around people. He's usually driving through into their body. So on this one, he's locked up pretty well into his man, who's able to get into his body and just drive him down, and he finishes the play on the ground. He gets taken down to the ground. And you see that quite a bit throughout, the film on him as you go through it. The thing with Kinlaw is he's an extremely strong, agile, athletic player. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time for him to really develop some moves outside of just using his pure strength, because you're going to see that here. Just up into him. He tries to push him out, but 51 does a good job of getting up into his frame and doesn't allow him to get himself to get pushed out. So doesn't really affect the play on that first pass rush. 3rd and 2, we get another one. We're going to see it again. It's going to be a bull rush. He's down here at the bottom. They actually have him as a defensive end. Bull rushes into the guard, ends up on the ground again, face down into the ground once again. So a couple of pass rushes early in the game. This time they've changed it up a little bit. They're trying to get Armstead inside because Armstead's much better on the inside, so they're trying to do whatever they can to get him into this role. So in this case, they kicked Kinlaw over to the outside on the other opposite side of the formation. They got DJ Jones here. They basically swapped these two guys out. And he's going to rush, and he's going to try to come up inside on 75 here. We'll slow it down just a little bit. And you're going to see he's going to fire into him, and it's basically just a bull rush and trying to push him back, collapse the pocket. It's kind of shows him a couple of moves, but he's at the end of all that, he just really goes right into his man. Drives him back a couple yards, which is good. It actually kind of affects the throw. You kind of, if you're not going to get there, then at least affect the quarterback in some way. He's able to definitely drive 75 back and cause some issues with a guy of Drew Brees' stature. He's a shorter guy, so if you can get guys up in his face, that's going to be a tough go for him. But this is the kind of rush that you see out of Kinlaw quite a bit throughout the season. Doesn't really have a lot of moves, doesn't have a whole lot of different techniques, and so for the most part, when he's rushing the quarterback, it's from a bull rush. So let me jump forward now. This game's interesting too because those are the only three offensive plays in the first quarter for New Orleans. By the time they get the ball back here in the beginning of the second quarter, they're already down 10-0. Before we start that, I got a couple of questions over here. Gavin says, asked me to predict the sacks this season. So you can go down to his bookies and lay some money down on it. If you're gonna do that, I'd put my money on him probably ending up somewhere between 5. I'd say if the over/under was 5, I'd go with the. If it was 6, if it was 5.5, I would go with 5. That's what I'm looking for. If he can get 5 sacks this year, I think we're definitely seeing a lot of improvement out of him. So that's around the area that I would go with him. I think 5 is a good number. It'd be a lot of improvement out of him from year 1 to year 2. You got to remember also in 2019 or 2020, excuse me, Kinlaw only hit the quarterback 4 times. He only had 4 quarterback hits throughout the whole season. He had 1 against the New York Giants in week 3. Didn't hit the quarterback again until this game, which was week 10. So it's something else to think about there too. Big City Man says, looks like he's giving great effort. What kind of specific moves do you think he would be able to learn in 1 year? Well, it's just, he's got to learn. You're going to see at times, one of the things we're going to see is he's got to be able to get to that outside shoulder or get to a shoulder of the guy kind of with a push and a rip to get up underneath him, or, maybe he can learn the swim technique or something like that, because we're really not seeing him do a whole lot, or maybe even use a spin every once in a while. He right now, and what you see from him in 2020 is a guy who I'm going to pretty much try to drive you back into the quarterback, and then I'm going to move you after and go get to the quarterback if he starts to move, and that's how we're going to see his sacks come in this game. He doesn't have any kind of when he goes to move around, or like on the previous pass when he's trying to fake you out, it's all pre-contact, and he's got to really come up with something so that as he gets into the man, he's shoving and he's ripping, or he's pulling and ripping. He's got to come up with a couple of different moves of that sort. But he's definitely a high effort guy. I don't want to ever make it feel like that, because he's definitely a guy that's put in the effort, plays hard, and you see that throughout as well. Luke says he's great talent, all rookie D linemen needs to work on having a slippery torso, uses length to keep linemen from tying him up. That's definitely it. That you saw him really come in on that one, and he's trying to get inside, but he allows the guard to get up into his body, and at that point he's done. So that's a really good point by Luke there, that slippery torso, and we're going to see that on a couple of plays as we get through this. You're going to see. I'm kind of hitting on some of his negatives. You're going to see some of the positives and some of the things that we need to see more of out of him moving forward. So I think we're going to see some better play out of him. Gavin, who's going to be more influential for the 49ers next year, Kinlaw or Bosa? I'm actually going to say Samson Ebukam. If Samson Ebukam can come in and fill that D Ford role of that speed guy off the outside, where they're able to keep Eric Armstead inside with the speed guy on the outside. The way that those two, I think, will work off each other is really going to help out. Bosa on the other side, he's going to be a playmaker as well. He's definitely going to have some influence. So those are the two guys I think the most. I think if you really want to see Ebukam be able to allow Armstead to kick inside and get after the quarterback inside, and the way that Ebukam rushes the quarterback is very similar to what we see out of Kinlaw. He's very much a high intensity, snap the whistle kind of guy who doesn't really have a lot of moves, but he's fast enough to cause problems and close quickly once the quarterback has to start to move. So I think that's what we're going to see out of him. So let's jump back into it so we can get through some of these. This is the next possession. We're going to have a running play here. He's down here. This one's going to go away from him. You get the sweep out here. This is the one where Armstead's kind of lollygagging, and then he misses. Kinlaw makes a play. He's a little off balance as well. They're not really sprinting over their full speed, either one of these guys, to make that play, but they're getting over there. And they both kind of, neither one of them make the play. Kinlaw actually forces him to belly back a little bit further, and they get a nice loss on that play. So run away. He does a good job of getting down the line of scrimmage. Would like to see his speed down the line be a little bit quicker on this one, but it's not bad. He's got to make sure that he maintains that outside leverage as well, or that leverage to force him back towards the sideline. That's kind of what he's doing there, and a nice job of getting a hand on him and knocking him back into DJ Jones. Now we have the next play here, 2nd and 15. After that loss, it's going to be a pass. He is right here. Here's Kinlaw right here. And you're going to see, again, another bull rush. He gets up into him, does a good job of pushing him back, knocks him back off of his feet, gets a little bit of a push. But again, it's just into him. He's not working a side or a shoulder of really trying to get upfield to the quarterback. And that's kind of an issue there. And that's something that I would like to see him working that outside shoulder maybe just a little bit more, if he can, to drive that guy back, but at the same time be able to bend the edge. There's a really good example of this in here. He does it later on in the game, so we'll get to it. Again, another pass. This is an interesting one here. Let me go back, because this is something that you see out of him quite a bit. You've probably heard a lot of times if you watch broadcasts or listen to coaches talk, when they're talking about these guys up front, if they start and realize they're not going to get home on the rush, that that's the second best thing that they can do is to settle, read the quarterback's eyes, and get into throwing lanes to try to make a play. And that's what you see here. You can see him get up he's bull rushing into the guard. He realizes pretty quick he's not going to get there. He reads Breeze off to the side, and he actually is able to get over and influence this throw and help really break this up by staying back. And what's going to happen is, why this is important is the week after, he does the same thing against the Rams, except for he's able to break loose of in the Ram game, he's able to break loose of the block of the guard, and he's able to step in front of this and intercept it and take it for a touchdown. It's almost exactly the same thing. And you see that from Kinlaw quite a bit, where he starts his rush, he realizes he's not going to get there, and he does a good job of stopping, finding where the quarterback's looking and getting in the way. And that's where his athleticism really shines through. Because this is a guy, if you look at him, he's a really big guy. He's playing inside, and his body type doesn't look much different than Kerry Hyder, who's a defensive end. He definitely doesn't look like, look at these guys across the front. He's DJ Jones is out here on the left, on the outside here, so they can get Armstead inside. DJ Jones, he's a guy who looks like he's an interior defensive lineman. These other three guys all look like speed rushers or power rushers, and that's what you see out of Kinlaw as well. He's just a big, strong guy, and hopefully does a really nice job there. Hopefully, a year in the system, a year of practice is going to really help him do well next year. And then they end up with the field goal. So let me fast forward or scroll through here to the next one, 11:29. There's a few times in here where he's not in the game, so I'm not going to go through any of that stuff. Gavin asks, what do you think is more important, pass rush or great coverage? Well, that's a tough one, because that's kind of a chicken, which comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Because they really play off of each other. I would say the bigger thing here is, if you can get a great pass rush I'm going to go with pass rush over coverage. And the reason I say it is because I think if you have great pass rush, and you can get great pass rush from just these 4 guys right here. If these 4 guys are going to be able to generate pressure for you, then that allows you to have great coverage on the back end, because now you've got 7 guys covering all the field, and you're causing all kinds of havoc in the backfield. You're making the quarterback get rid of the ball. If these 4 guys can get home quite a bit, these guys are all going to look better. You saw that play out in 2019, because that front 4 did a great job of getting after it, and then these guys on the back end were able to lock it down and play because they knew the ball was coming out so fast. That was a huge help, and that's part of why they were able to play so much zone, and it's a big help, especially for a guy like Richard Sherman, who they had as one of the starters in 2019. And that lack of pass rush is a lot of the reason why you saw Jason Verrett and Emmanuel Mosley play so well, because they were locking up a lot more in man coverage, because the 49ers were forced to bring the rush more often. So here we are, starting another possession. And as I kind of pointed out, here's your third safety again. Down here in the box, you've got 2 linebackers and a safety. And this could be with Moore's injury, that's going to be a tough one, because this is actually Moore right here. He's lined up in the slot on this one as the strong safety. With him not being there, Harris is going to probably have to slide over here. So this would be like a Hufanga type or maybe a Jefferson, who they just signed, playing that role. So hope I answered your question, Gavin. Luke says Kinlaw recently said he's working on focusing on certain keys rather than trying to read everything. Yes, that's important as well, because if they can see a key pre-snap, and it allows them to quickly kind of know what's coming. And football is all about speed and quickness. The faster you can read, the faster you can react to the play, the faster it is, more likely you're going to be able to end up with a stop. So it's all part of playing fast, and that's definitely what they should be looking at. And here he is here. This is going to be first down. We're going to see a pass rush, kind of a bull rush. He gets a double team, and they do a really good job of sitting him down there. If he's able to force this kind of thing next year on passing downs, when you've got Nick Bosa, Samson Ebukam, and him on the field, Eric Armstead up inside, if they're double teaming Javon Kinlaw, that's going to really help out everybody else, because I really think it's going to, Eric Armstead's going to do very well inside if he's in single one guy trying to block him. So you see the double team there. Does a fine job. He's fighting through it and not able to get any pressure on him, but he's also being double teamed. And that's where the lack of other pass rushers comes into play. He's going to get double here again. This is the run to the outside. They're running in his direction on out of the Wildcat, though. Gets double teamed, they kind of crush him down, but that double team allows everybody else to flow. He does a good job of taking on the blockers and allowing everybody else to flow over. He's going to be lined up on the outside. He's here. He's going to be taking a nice outside rush, but he gets tripped up, and the ball comes out too quickly here. But what I like about this one is he does, instead of just driving up into his man, he's actually he's taking a little bit better of an angle. Slow it down a little bit as he gets into it. So there's kind of that rip. There's that push, that rip that I was talking about earlier. You kind of see that out of him on this one. The ball just comes out too quick for it to really be. It's going to take him a little bit of time for him to get there, right? So this is one where you talk about, if you have some coverage that forces the quarterback to hold on to the ball, that kind of thing, it's going to help him out. But you get a good job. Boom. He's trying to rip under. He gets trips up over the tackle and falls down. The ball comes out quick. But there's a little bit better of that technique that I was talking about earlier. Third and 4 here. And they're going to double team him again. So where is he? He's right here. On the right side here. Basically, they just have him trying to bull rush up inside. It's on this one, it's a little bit different. They want him just to kind of try to collapse the pocket. He's gonna come around over the guard over here, and they get a double team on him. He's able to force it, and a great play on the outside there by Jimmy Ward to knock the ball down. So pretty good series, and we get to see a little bit more of him there. Let's move forward to 8. So he's back in the game here. He's right here. They run right at him, and he kind of shoots the gap up inside. Definitely have him attacking on this. Right here. You're going to see him just try to get up inside. He's trying to attack the hole. Ball comes out. Again, you have Harris down inside in the box as a linebacker, and Hyder as well, bringing that down. Skip over to the next one. Another run. He's down here at the bottom now. Does a nice job on this one of firing up into the hole. Seeing the play go away from him, retracing his steps and chasing it back down. Getting a lot of effort and energy. The ball just going away from him, so he's not able to affect the play. Third and 1 here, third and short. Here he is on the inside. And the ball's outside of him. There's just not a whole lot that he can do. He's doing his responsibility. He's getting upfield. He's maintaining the leverage that he's supposed to be looking at, and that the guard's just riding him around. The ball's going too far outside for him to really affect this. All right, so let me jump to the next one. We got a pass, and he's going to be right here. You're going to see a bull rush again. Not able to really get any kind of move. He does a good job of driving that man back and forcing him into the lap of Breeze. He gets a good rush, but you'd like to kind of, again, he's not getting there, not hitting it. But it's a good pass rush. It's there's definitely some strength there. I just want to as we talked about earlier, just a move here or there is going to really help him out. He kind of starts with when we watch this one from behind here, you're going to see he really kind of starts off. Let's watch this in slow motion, because you're going to see him try to give a punch and a push with his right hand. Boom! He's trying to. It's almost like he's trying to do a push and a swim, but it's just an awkward motion, and he's allowing his frame is getting opened up. It's got to be more of a hit, push, and rip. You want to try to keep yourself skinny through the hole, and the way that he's kind of doing that, he's opening his upper half up to a block. And I'm going to get to your questions in just a minute. We're going to finish off the we're going to finish off the half, and then I'll jump into it, because we're about halfway through this already as far as the total number of plays as well. Again, bull rush, doesn't get home, drives his man back. Just really need to see him do a couple other things with his technique outside of just driving him. And now he's out of the game for the rest of the half here. They've rotated him out. So We'll start off the second half, but before we do, let me go in. All right, sorry about that, guys. Little technical difficulty over here. I think it's all that bandwidth that it's taken for my computer to try to connect with Gavin over in Wales. That's the question I was going to, and then it all fell apart on me. But let's see. So Gavin asked, do you think Kinlaw can ever give us the production up front that Buckner did for us? I don't think so. He's not that type of a player, but I think he's going to be able to give him a good amount of production. I don't think it's fair to really compare the two because Buckner is a all-pro talent. I don't know if Kinlaw is ever necessarily going to be that player, but I definitely think he has the ability to be pretty good. So let's give him a little bit of a break on that one. But like I said, if we can get 5 sacks out of him this year, I think we're looking really good. You got to remember, Buckner was up to 7, 8 on average, but during his time here, he was doing really well. So that's a tough one for him. Keith says, was this one of his better games? I assume his early games were not great. How much improvement did he have from week 1 to week 16? Yes, and that's Keith. That's a great question, and that's one of the things I kind of mentioned at the start of this was that this is one of his better games. I picked this one on purpose because it's kind of towards the middle of the season, without having that off-season work, and really the first time that he got to work with the 49ers in the NFL level was during preseason. He didn't really have that ability to really work with the coaches much. So I'm thinking that this time around is going to be a little bit better for him because he's had more of been able to work more with the coaches, been able to work with the trainers and all those kind of things. So I think that we're going to see him be able to have a much better season this year. And so I wanted to show this one, and then the other game will be a kind of a middle of the season game as well. So hope that answers your question. But yes, definitely was one of his better games. So jumping in here in the second half, I'm going to fast forward through this one. It's actually a screenplay away from him. It's going to be off to the right side. Not a whole lot going on there. That he's getting ball down at the bottom of the screen, and he's not really involved in the play at all. Ball's coming out quick. There's not a whole lot on him on this one. So this one, though, is a much better job. This was actually one of his 3 hits on the quarterback in the game. And what I like about this one is you're going to see what I talked about earlier. He's here. The fact that Drew Brees out of the game kind of helps out because Winston's a little bit slower with his release. but you're going to see him get in there, and he does a much better job of, there's that little push and that rip. He gets small up inside. He's falling down as he gets there, but that's a really good effort play. That's a really good rush. But I hope you understand, you see what I was talking about as far as that, you're going to see him get his shoulders turned. He makes himself a little bit skinnier as he's going up into the hole. Does a good job of gives him a good punch and then a rip up with his left arm to go around the outside edge. This is a really nice pass rush out of Javon Kinlaw. So you see the strike with the right hand. You see him kind of trying to pull through with his left, and he gets tripped up over the tackle. But he's able to still affect that play, gets a hit on the quarterback, and they just need to get a better tackle out on the edge to finish that play off. But that's a much better rep out of him there. Again, this is another nice rep. Remember earlier in the game, they ran at him and they drove him down. He had a double team and they drove him out of the way, and they were able to drive him out of the hole and for a 5-yard gain. They're going to run at him again here. He's going to get a double team. He's going to do a very good job of standing up against that. You got the double team here, but he doesn't lose any ground. He maintains his spot, and by doing that, he's allowing everybody else to get there. So he doesn't actually make the tackle, but he's really helping make the play for Fred Warner. And Harris had been there to make the tackle before the jump cut, and he gets in there and kind of helps out at the end to bring him down. But this is a really solid play out of Javon Kinlaw. Fights through it, boom. That's really good play out of a defensive tackle against the run, especially against a double team. Really good job of fighting through there. We're going to get a runaway here from him. He's here. This ball's going to go inside up to the opposite direction. Kind of fights through it, chases it down. 3rd and 2. This is a really nice one as well. So this is a really nice series of downs for him. They're going to try to run the quarterback up inside, but he's here. Nice job fighting, shedding, coming right down the line of scrimmage, and wrapping uphill, and they forced a gain of only 1, forcing the punt there. So a really nice job out of Kinlaw on this play. I'm going to jump back to it again. Slow it down. Fights through it. Has that outside arm. Comes right down the line of scrimmage, wraps him up, and gets some help from his other guys. But that's a really nice play out of Kinlaw. You can't really do a whole lot better than that. So, really good. All right, so let's jump forward to his next play in the game. 650. He's on the inside here, top of the screen. Again, it's more of just an inside rush, more of just a bull rush. Doesn't really have any kind of a move on that one. Forces the lineman up into the pocket a little bit over the center, but not able to really get pressure on that one. Again, this is going to be a nice one here. He's going to be here. This run's actually going to be coming out to the defense's right side, so it's going to be coming out at the bottom, and you're going to see him do a good job. Gets up inside. He does a good job of chasing this down the line of scrimmage. He falls on it at the end of the play, but that's a really good job of kind of that's really what you want to see out of when the ball's going away, is see that guy be able to shed the block and continue down. He's right there. If he's not tackled short by the man who brings him down, he's right there to make a play on it. So that's a really nice job out of Kinlaw. He's going to back that up. And this is one that we talked about earlier, was that kind of being able to take that outside rush, power around and get to the quarterback, and you're going to see that here. This is one of those plays where it's really a coverage sack. He gets help from the secondary. I think the fact that this is Taysom Hill and not Drew Brees kind of helps with the sack, because it does take him a little while to get there. You're going to see he's going to be in a battle here. He's actually going to get held. You're going to see the flag come in as well. So he's trying to come around that outside shoulder. Just keeps going, and he's able to wrap him around, and you see the flag come down. This is just a good effort play out of Kinlaw. He kind of bites on the pass rush a little bit. On the run fake. Excuse me. You're going to see him kind of bite. What I mean by that, you can see him kind of step down in the run with this run fake right here. Kind of stops it, but then he gets going again. He does a good job of running around 62, and he holds them and getting there and bringing down the sack. So that's his first career sack right there. Good to see that Horacio's back. Haven't seen him over here for a while. It's good to see. Let's jump forward. First play of the fourth quarter. He's not going to get home on this one. He's down here at the bottom. This is one of those plays though where he's going to start to rush. Isn't going to get there. He kind of falls back into the passing lane, and that helps with forcing the quarterback to bring the ball down. Kind of falls right into the lane, and he's watching Winston's eyes. I'm going to slow it down. You can see he knows he sees he's not going to get there. He's got his eyes on Winston. You see him trying to fall back into it, and Hyder brings him down for the sack. Nice play there. And we're going to see that again here on 2nd and 10. He's going to be down here at the bottom of the screen. Good job fighting up inside. Nothing's open. Winston tries to escape, and he gets brought down. But this is, again, he's not getting on this one. This is more of an effort sack than a technique sack. He's not really getting a good pass rush. He gets pretty well stoned at the point of attack. Again, bull rushing him, not able to get there. Stops his feet, gets his eyes on Winston, who now starts to scramble, and that allows him to. That's where he becomes a better player because of his athleticism. But he's got to have some moves. Again, on his pass rush, he gets a sack here, or credit for half of the sack. But that's really an effort play, a help by he's getting a sack because he's got good coverage downfield. He's got a backup quarterback in the game. Winston, for as good as he was in college, hasn't been very. He's struggled in the pros, and it's just there's a big difference between having Jameis Winston here and Drew Brees. He's not going to get there. Winston having to come up is what helps make him get the sack here, and his motor. So just need to see him be able to get off of guys better. He's inside on this one right over the center, the screen, opposite way. Gets really good pressure on this one, but doesn't really have a whole lot of. It's a screen, so it doesn't really matter. He's getting him at the field because nobody's blocking him. I'm gonna skip forward. We're almost done as far as the game goes. I think this gives you a pretty good idea. I think we've already got a pretty good idea of what he kind of can bring to the table. On this one, he's going to be lined up here, and they're going to have him looping all the way around. You get good pressure from everybody else, and the quarterback has escaped by the time he gets around the edge. You're going to see him start. They got 3 guys out here, and he's going to be coming all the way around this way. Everybody else is kind of firing up inside. Armstead being inside there helps his pass rush. Let's watch Armstead here, because you got Armstead over here, and you've got on the inside. This is where he's so much better. One-on-one. See that swim move? This is a really good example of which we need to see out of Kinlaw. Let's watch this swim move. Watch this. Boom. Nice hit right on this back. Swims over. The guard doesn't even know what hit him. And Kinlaw's up the field. And that's, again, this is why the 49ers, why having a guy like Sam Ebicom is so important to their defensive pass rushes, because it allows them to get Eric Armstead inside where he can work on a guard or a center where he's not really athletic enough to beat the tackles on a regular basis for sacks, but he's going to beat these three guys inside because he's more athletic than them, and he's got really long arms. And you're going to see, again, watch this shove with his right hand and this quick swim, gets it over the guy's back and just pushes him all the way. This is just really pretty. Boom, there's the swim. That's really nice. And that's a type of move that we need to see out of Kinlaw, and that's a move that with his pass rush type, where he's such a bull rusher, if he can start working guys where they think that's what they're going to get, and all of a sudden now he's doing a swim where he's coming in and he's doing some kind of a twist on him, I think you're going to see a lot of success out of him moving forward. So yeah, that's there. Outside of that, I mean, we're looking at a lot of the rest of this game. Let's just watch a couple more plays. We're going to see here on. He's going to get double teamed here on a run. Here he is on the inside. You're just going to see him get smashed down on the double team by these two guys. They just kind of swallow him down. The ball's going outside of him, so it's not really on him to make this play. He's got to be able to keep his feet and try to work his way down the line of scrimmage. We talked about, I mentioned that earlier when the ball was going this way. You kind of like to see him be able to keep his feet, get up in there, see what's going on, and then be able to kind of retrace back this way. But he ends up on the ground, not able to help out. Here on this one, this will be the last one that we're going to look at. So another pass rush. He's right down here on the bottom of the screen, and he just, again, a bull rush. He doesn't really have any kind of move. Just kind of gets stoned there, and then he starts to fall back. At one point, he's in the end zone. I'm not sure why. I don't know why he wants to fall all the way back into the end zone like that instead of trying to come down. I guess he decided he's going to become a linebacker at that point, but just getting pushed. He's not getting anywhere, and now he's going to kind of drop into a pass coverage of some sort. But, yeah. So that gives you a pretty good idea, at least of Kinlaw and where he was last year towards the middle of the season. As Kevin had mentioned earlier with his one question, that this was definitely one of his better games. You go back through and you watch Kinlaw, you look at his stats from last year, and he only had 5 quarterback hits. 3 of them came in this game. One of them came earlier in the season against the Giants. So, the positives, though, you want to stay positive. And I think Kinlaw is a guy who you see he has the strength and the speed, athleticism to really become a good player at this level. We just need to see him develop some moves and really get through this and have a good second season. There's usually a big jump between year 1 and year 2. Losing minicamp this week, I think is a real bummer, especially for a player for these younger guys. He's a guy that really needs to be able to be on the field, working with the coaches, working one-on-one with his defensive coaches on the field. Losing that time is a real bummer. But hopefully the amount that the OTAs, the 7 to 8 practices they had will be enough to kind of launch him into August and have him come out and do a really good upgrade this year in 2021 in year number 2. So real quick, I appreciate seeing comments like this from Gavin. He feels like he's getting a little bit smarter with this football IQ, with the breakdowns. I really appreciate that. That's part of why I try to do this, try to help everybody out, kind of see the game in a different way, a little bit more detailed. So I really appreciate that, Mike, as well. thank you for joining. Everybody that joined the show live, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do that. If you liked what you see, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you like the video. And if you do subscribe, hit the little bell up there so that you get notified anytime I'm going live. That way you can see you can not miss any of this. And please let your friends and 49er friends know about this. And the quicker I can get to 1,000 viewers and subscriptions, the faster I can start making a lot more videos, because I'll be having a little bit more money. So coming my way. So really appreciate it. And turn your notifications on, like Gavin says in the comments. Subscribe. And Keith, this is 100% right. We're all having fun. That's what it's all about, and that's the reason why I do this. I love football. Grew up with it in my family as the youngest, and having a brother that's 7 years older than me. So I've always been around the game, and just like to have fun. I really appreciate everybody joining. You guys all go out and have a great rest of your day here on Sunday, and pass this along to all of your friends, and let's keep growing this. And we'll be back at you with the second game on Javon Kinlaw later this week. Probably going to be on Tuesday. I'm thinking right now. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much.